Hey you guys, happy Thursday and welcome back to my channel. Is the GNU partners turning their guest against President Cyril Ramaphosa? This is after the Democratic Alliance leader Helen Zille said that Cyril Ramaphosa is not a good president for times such as this. He's more of a consensus builder. And his weakness is that he can't manage crisis, he's indecisive, and also he has failed to take action. He's very, very slow. And in this video, I wanted us to talk about such a critique that comes from the Democratic Alliance and also the pressure as well as ultimatums that he's receiving for Patriotic Alliance, one of its coalition partners that has been very much faithful to him and his GNU. In this video, I wanted us to talk about those critics. So Cyril Ramaphosa has received critics from Helen Zille. This is what Helen Zille said in SMWX recently.
Cyril Ramaphosa is not a president for hard times. Cyril Ramaphosa is a conciliator, a consensus seeker, a negotiator. He likes to be the non-executive chairman of the board. He likes to find a way in which people can work together, and when a tough decision is going to have to be taken that's going to get blowback, he's nowhere to be seen. Except when he inadvertently says that the DA is better at government than the ANC. And then he gets a lot of flack and he doesn't like it, and then he tries to do some damage control, which makes his situation worse. He's not the leader we need for these times. A leader we need for these times has to say, that is where we're going. I'm listening to all the evidence about what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how we fix it. Once I have filtered all of that and taken expert advice, I will say, that is where we're going. That is how we're going to get there. There's going to be a lot of chunking and crying and moaning, but you've got to stay the course. And
this has definitely made me wonder as to why would Cyril Ramaphosa praise the Democratic Alliance and even in a way campaign for them to be the mayors of Johannesburg. And then on the other hand, Democratic Alliance doesn't see him as fit enough leader, as well as the pressure that comes from the Patriotic Alliance. So when it comes to the Democratic Alliance has not seen the president as a person that is as effective as the way they would have wanted him to be. But I think that one of the things that we need to praise President Cyril Ramaphosa on, which leans more towards the politics of the DA, is his love for investment. That he spends a lot of time internationally going to other countries to try to forge relations, not for the benefit of the country, but for the benefit of investment. Hence, he would not definitely have a problem with the Democratic Alliance running Johannesburg, because what he's after is nothing more than just investment. Hence, he look at Eskom and his initiative when it comes to Eskom. It is leaning more towards an investor-friendly type of relationship. So I say what I say because of the renewable energy push, which is the push for the IPPs, which is the independent power product producers, which open space for private investment in electricity. So that's what mostly he's known for, or has done as part of his successes during his tenure. And also, he's known as the president of commissions, from the Zondo Commission to now the Matlanga Commission. So he's known as a person of commissions. And then when it comes to diplomacy, he maintains international confidence, especially with BRICS and the West. And when it comes to social reform, he introduced COVID-19 grant, which changed into SRD grant. A small step towards what? Basic income, which we'll definitely think. I don't think this is the case. It's still not enough. It's still very small. And also, when we look at Ramaphosa's failures, they are more, and they are a lot. They are more towards economic and benefits for the people of South Africa. And that includes load shedding worsening under his watch, despite reform, Eskom collapsing further, was the issue of the July unrest, if you guys remember, and that was his delayed response, which made him look weak and indecisive. And when it comes to crime and corruption, assassinations as well as extortion mafias and subs rot deepening. And his anti-corruption stance looks more like talk than action. Paralysis, and it's very much common in the ANC. And when it comes to Palapala, it's damaged his credibility on corruption and accountability. So Ramaphosa has dismally failed when it comes to all those things, and I definitely agree to a certain degree with Helen Zille that he's not really fit enough to be the president, especially at the time such as this, and he's really failed. And from what I've shown you guys, the successes and the failures of the ANC or of his leadership, that is one of the proof to show that Cyril Ramaphosa is not really a president for times such as this. And the fact that his minister, who is close with him or who is part of his faction, is implicated so much in the Madlanga Commission, that should show you, and how he himself has really shown so much control and infiltration when it comes to the police, how he has put himself out there when it comes to the police, from the disbandment of the Political Task Team, not once but twice. The second time was when we saw it ourselves, after Masemola decided that these case dockets should return back to the Political Task Team. He was not happy about that, together with Feroz Kachalia. So that should tell you how he is. And I think I once made a video sort of like comparing leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa and Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma was a very quick was a person that acted very quickly. And he didn't even mind overnight waking up in the morning and reshuffle his cabinet. He didn't mind doing that. But Cyril Ramaphosa, he takes time, he's very slow. When there's crisis, right now there's crisis. People want answers when it comes to Madlanga Commission. There's a lot going on in our country, but where is he? International. Instead, he's more focused on fixing relations with the United States of America, the issue of trade, and all of that. He's prioritizing that. Investment, business, investment. He doesn't really care about the economy, what's going on, and the crime that is in our country, the threat that we are receiving in our country, our sovereignty, how we are being threatened as a country. You know, talking about sovereignty and the threatening of the country, guys, do you know that Paul Kruger monument that has been put there at Fort Tracker, I think, yesterday during Heritage Day? And I'm not gonna lie, that is very problematic. And let me tell you why that is very problematic. Guys, Paul Kruger was the president of ZAR in the late 1900s and is a central figure in Afrikaner nationalism. For many black people, he represents the colonial dispossession, white supremacy, and racial exclusion that preceded apartheid. The problem is that putting a huge statue of such a figure in 2025 after apartheid and during an era when we are still fighting inequality can be seen as glorifying the older order instead of acknowledging its harm. It's sending a message that white heritage is prioritized above black suffering, undermining reconciliation by opening wounds of oppression, and the implications in terms of unity. If we want to build a society free of inferiority and superiority complexes, we must be careful about public symbols, statues, which are not neutral because they shape memory and identity. For example, the statue of Mandela, we know that it signals reconciliation, and the statue of Kruger signals Afrikaner dominance. So the problem is not history being erased. The problem is where history gets glorified in public spaces. So this is the problem. It's a real problem. It's the same thing as what's happening with the DA now being the mayors of Johannesburg. Helen Zille has glorified apartheid, has said that people were working hard during apartheid and stuff, at the cost of who? Other people even referred to her as a racist. Now we're seeing this person now taking over Johannesburg, as I said, which is part of the plans of Cyril Ramaphosa. Our history is being challenged all the time by white people. For example, the songs, the chants that we sing, including Kill the Boer, the Farmer. They're not happy about such chants, but when it comes to their heritage, what signals them and what is a memory to them, it has to outlive every other culture and memory and all of that. But when it comes to us, we are being criticized. Why are you guys still singing it? And you know what's funny? The criticism does not only come from the white community, even fellow black people criticize those songs, our heritage, whereas white people's heritages, they're not compromising. They are keeping it. They're keeping their heritage, while you are compromising, are getting rid of your heritage in the name of, it's more like it's for colonialists. It was sang during colonialism and apartheid. Apartheid is gone. You want to sound smart as a black person in the name of our heritage and our history, whereas these people are keeping their heritage and their history. While we are here failing to unite, these people are uniting. They are making sure that their history gets reignited, they put the flowers, and they're bringing it back slowly but surely. And here we are, we're fighting about illegal immigrations, about hospitals, of which I'm not saying that that fight is wrong. I'm not saying that people should stop that fight. But what I'm saying is that open your eyes, be on the lookout. These people, AfriForum, took the CIC. They wanted to sanction ANC because of the song Kill the Boer the Farmer. They even wanted to go to the ICC. They've gone to many interviews. They've tarnished our leaders, our black leaders' images in those international stages. But their history keeps on living on. And we are not even seeing that. We are discussing other things. We are focusing on other things. We are distracted by the criminality, which is not being dealt with. We are distracted by the Madlanga Commission, of which is very important, Madlanga Commission. But what I'm saying is that when you are focused on that, they see that the whole country is focused on Madlanga, is focused on the testimony, is focused on the criminal aspect of South Africa. They are taking over. By the time you open your eyes, apartheid will be everywhere. Apartheid memories or apartheid legacies will be everywhere, and it won't be easy then for you to fight anymore.
Genocide is a very big word. I haven't been to Gaza and I don't know, but I certainly do know that Hamas has spent all its energy trying to obliterate the state of Israel. And the most critical point is that they must both recognize that each has the right to have a state and to live in peace side by side.
Check yourself and fix yourself. So these people now, they're fighting in the coalition, as I've said, because that was not the purpose. That was just a point in limine that I was trying to make. But I'm trying to say that when it comes to the issue of at the DA as well as the president, it's so funny that he was campaigning for them, happy for them, praising them of their municipalities, of which, yes, the DA municipalities are doing well. We are not disputing that. But him doing that in the platform of the ANC, he could have done that in another interview, but in the platform of the ANC, seemed as if he was campaigning for her, especially after it followed, after that situation, subsequently after that situation, Helen Zille was announced to be the candidate or what is going to run for Johannesburg mayor. So now him receiving such a critique from the DA saying that, no, he's too weak. Ugh, such a sad situation to watch. Now moving to the Patriotic Alliance. Patriotic Alliance is also making their own ultimatums after there was a situation of the MEC for transport. When Liam left his position, they then took Liam Jacobs to take over. Liam Jacobs, which means he was so weak he failed. And the intention, from what Kenikune said in his recent interview, it was always the intention of the mayor to swap them with the duties of the EFF. So the EFF was to take over the Johannesburg MEC for transport. Let me play you guys that part of the interview of Kenikune.
If yes. Kenikune is not.
It's not a threat, it's a fact.
Yeah, but why
we
you
have
not?
Been impatient.
Have you spoken to
From
the mayor?
July, we have been impatient.
But the mayor wouldn't have appointed you then because you had not been cleared. You were only cleared yesterday.
No, but you are supposed to appoint my replacement, Liam Jacobs. That's what we gave the ANC. And the Patriotic Alliance does not negotiate coalitions with the mayor. It negotiates coalition with the ANC. And the ANC will put people that will negotiate coalitions. And these are the people that we engage with. The regional secretary in the region, the provincial chairperson would be the premier, the provincial secretary, and whoever else that they bring.
Was Liam Jacobs the right person for the job?
Those are the people that we negotiate with.
Yeah.
And those negotiations come after we have met national. So we met with national of the ANC.
I get that, Kenny.
In 2021.
But I'm saying, was Liam Jacobs the right person for the job?
Yes,
because,
of course.
Did he have capacity to be the MMC?
He was
did he have
an
some
MP.
experience?
Hello? He was an MP.
What reason did
he was doing good work as an MP? You have MMCs here who don't have metric that are being deployed everywhere. So you can't even ask me about Liam having capacity. He's thinking of swapping you with the EFF.
Mm-hmm.
You go to public safety, EFF goes to transport. I said no. The Patriotic Alliance has negotiated 5 years, and I would want to finish so that when I give a report of my performance, it's a 5 years. And he said, okay, it's fine, I understand. So the mayor has been having this thing with the Secretary General of the EFF to swap both of us. When I got to council, the MMC of Public Safety, Mgeni Chwaku, came to me and said, I understand we are being swapped. I said no. Dada just told me that, and I said no.
So as you guys can hear, the intention of the mayor was always to swap these people, but because of that head-heartedness from Kenikunene, they kept it the way it did. So now when Kenikunene left, they're like, oh, we got them where they're weak. We got them where they're weak. And when Liam went there, a 20-something-year-old, you think you're going to fight with those Mkulus and the 30-something-year-olds and the 40s there? You think you're going to fight with them? Obviously, they controlled him. They controlled him to a point that the position left unoccupied for months. Probably it was someone who was acting, but I assume that it was unoccupied for months because it was challenged. Now, the Patriotic Alliance, when they saw that, oh my God, the situation is not getting controlled, Liam is being played with, Liam can stand against those guys, can stand with those guys. So what we're going to do is to find Kenikunene not guilty. Even if you guys can look at that report that was provided, the attorney report, that thing, you can see that it was drafted the night before. I'm sorry, I judge you, attorneys, I judge you. It was drafted the night before. I don't think there was any investigation to begin with. And my red flag was when this person was put as a candidate to run as mayor. I knew immediately that Kenikunene is not guilty. And when that was put out there, we were trying to prepare us that Kenikunene is coming back. And that I think it was this week, the next week, they then released that report that he's not found guilty. And the first thing he did was to go for interviews so that he can clear this thing off. We want our positions back. We want to be the MECs again, MMCs or MECs again for transport. What happened was that they started fighting, gating fights, Kenikunene fights. They want this position back. And they're now even giving President Ramaphosa an ultimatum that you better fix it. You better fix it or we are leaving the GNU. This is the same strategy that was used by the Democratic Alliance. Has it ever worked? No. The NDC doesn't care.
We can't allow them to ill-treat us like that. Let me make you an example. The Deputy Minister has been removed from the GNU, Whitfield. The President of the country is saying, we are not filling this position because we agreed it's the DA position. The position is not filled. He's waiting for John Steenhuisen. Kenikunene was removed. Dada Morero decides PA can't get that point. So if the president can act in such a respectful, collegial, honest and good faith manner, why will I tolerate Dada Morero thinking like that? If
the NC knows that there's always parties that are willing to come inside. Action SA has always been willing to go inside. When you leave, other people are going to come inside. Gating will never, and I bet you on that, will never leave that lifestyle of being a minister just because the friend is not getting the position. A compromise before the week will be made. Kenikunene will take the very position that he doesn't want. Trust me. I don't think that they will leave the GNU. They'll never leave the GNU. This is the same strategy that was used by a lot of parties, mind you. It's not the strategy only of the Patriotic Alliance or the Democratic Alliance. They always give the president ultimatums, but that's the thing. They don't want to learn that President Ramaphosa doesn't like ultimatums. Not just him, the NC doesn't like ultimatums. So when you give them ultimatums, you make them to be even more angry. When you tell them that if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. They don't take good at that. Instead, they become even more rebellious. You find yourselves going to them and begging them, making some compromises, just like the DA has done. DA in the coalition is very important. If they can leave EFF and MKP, they are joining. Imagine now with the situation of the GNU, imagine now with the situation of Patriotic Alliance. Action SA is always willing to join the GNU. Action SA is very much willing to join the GNU. They will go inside. I doubt that they will leave. It's just that they're showing that sense of we want our position back, and it makes sense for them to fight for it and to put in the effort to say that we want our position back. But will they get it? High chances no. They've not been occupying that position for more than a month, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously they've made their own meetings and decided what they're going to do going forward. But I doubt that Kenikunene was back because of his mayoral position or what. I think that he was back because they saw that What is going on in Johannesburg is so bad, and the Patriotic Alliance is about to lose his position, and Gayton does not have the capacity and the strength to fight that. Already has a lot on his plate. So Kenny Kunene better come back and fight that position, otherwise they're going to lose it permanently. Hence, Kenny Kunene was found not guilty, and the first thing that he wanted to do with Gayton Mackenzie, they wanted to fight for that position. I don't know. You guys comment your thoughts. Tell me what you think about that. Is the GNU collapsing? Because if they don't have a confidence in their president, what's the purpose of that GNU? Why did they even vote for him when they know that he's not strong enough? Helen was asked if whether she will run, and she said that no, she's not gonna run for DA president come next year. This year, yeah, next year, come next year. She's not gonna run for DA federal chair. So I don't know. Is she preparing to be the president of South Africa? I wouldn't be shocked. Will she get it? I wouldn't be shocked if she does. I don't know what you guys think. Please comment your thoughts about these two parties and their demands and their lack of confidence on Cyril Ramaphosa, especially the DA. You know, Patriotic Alliance, they're just screaming kids that won't go anywhere. But the DA, on the other hand, interesting to watch. Nonetheless, please comment your thoughts. I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.